Hey everyone, so I recently went a bit crazy on Book Depository and this is the result. It's beautiful. The first book that I got was Questions of Travel by Michelle de Creyster. I didn't actually buy this from Book Depository, I got it from Winsor & Smith. So I got it from Winsor & Smith on a whim. I didn't know what it was about at all, but I saw the front and it was beautiful with these beautiful designs, kind of like an embroidery pattern. And it had the Prime Minister's Literary Awards and the Miles Franklin Literary Award, and I have read other authors with these awards and I've really enjoyed it, so yeah, I got this. I've kind of started it and I didn't really get into it, but you know, who knows, I'll keep going. It's kind of about two different lives. A girl called Laura who travels the world, she's a bit lost, she's a bit of an outcast. Then there is Ravi, who dreams of being a tourist until he is forced out of his home country of Sri Lanka by devastating events, it says. So that could be a really good read. It's a beautiful cover and as far as I'm aware, it's a beautiful book. So the next one I got, the cover pulled me in and it's on a subject that I kind of enjoy learning about. So it's 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. It's about a young girl called Miriam and also another young girl called Layla, and their lives are interconnected and they sort of end up together under devastating circumstances. It's set in Afghanistan and it shows the sort of decline that comes with the war and with all of the conflict that was going on in Afghanistan, still is. So it's really good if you want to sort of educate about what it's really like to live in Afghanistan, what it's really like to endure war, etc. And it's a very realistic portrayal as far as I'm aware, and it's heartbreaking, but it wasn't one of those horrible stories where, you know, it's hopeless. There is hope in this book and that's what I enjoyed most about it. I did read this in about 2 days, pretty thick. I really enjoyed it and I can highly recommend it to anyone who wants to learn more about a young woman living in Afghanistan. The next book I got is called The Year It Ended by Christy Murray. It's set around the end of the war, so 1918, the First World War, and it kind of follows the lives of these 4 young sisters, and in particular Tinny, who's the main character, or the protagonist. And it follows how they live after the war and how they deal with loss and grief and how society has totally changed and been upheaved. You know, it's a really beautiful portrayal of what it would have been like to live in 1920s. It's set in both Melbourne and Adelaide, and there's some in there about Outback Australia too, which I think it was a beautiful overview. So I could recommend that if you're looking for sort of like a small, easy book to read that's, you know, not too heavy. The next book I got, I have been long anticipating. I've been like sort of uncertain as to whether to buy it, and then finally I went on Book Depository and I cracked and I just had to get it, and it is How to Be an Explorer of the World by Kerry Smith. I've seen a lot of her other stuff floating around YouTube, in particular Wreck This Journal, but I wasn't sure I wanted to get Wreck This Journal, so I got this instead, and it's pretty much just all of these little things you can do to explore the world around you. So it has stuff like water, number 25. Study and document shapes made by water. Find as many as you can. Research shapes made by water. Come up with new ones. It also has stuff like listen to conversations and write it down, create a story from that. It has stuff like interview people about the town where you live and document it. Collect leaves and, you know, display them in different ways. I just love how it sort of encourages you to be creative. I like this one, exploration number 47. The shapes of stains and splotches. And you have to outline stains and splotches and stick them in. And I just think anything that makes anyone more creative and more open to the world is something that's good, and so I got this because of that, just because I was feeling a bit like in a creative lapse. So I think this could be a good one to sort of get out of a creative rut and sort of, you know, see things in a different way. The next book I got was because I watched the review on Books and Quills channel. Repaying the Apocalypse. I love this cover. It's by Katie Coyle and it's published by Hotkey Books. I'm enjoying this book so far. I can't say much about it yet. I'm sort of a few pages in. It's about a young girl called Vivian who is left behind after this thing that has been dreaded for months called the Rapture happens. And essentially the Church of America has taken over a lot of lives of people, and he's been telling them for 3 years that the rapture will happen and that only believers will be sent to heaven. Vivian is a non-believer, even though her parents were believers, and she comes home on the day of the rapture to find her parents gone and 2 holes in the ceiling. So this has happened to other people's family members as well, although some believers are left behind, which is a bit perplexing. So Vivian and her friend Harp set out on a journey, and I think this book is about a journey through a world that is sort of being torn apart by apocalyptic events. I'm not sure if it happens just in America or all over the world, but I think it's a really interesting insight at the way religion deals with apocalypse and stuff. So far I also really like the way that this book is written. It is a young adult novel, so it's sort of more focused on the plot rather than the writing, but occasionally there'll be this beautiful sentence or this beautiful image that will just jump out at me and I'll think, oh, where did that come from? It's great. So I'm really enjoying this book so far, and I'll probably do a review on it when I finish. The next book I have is one I just finished a few hours ago. I will do a review on it. It's amazing. It's also one that I saw on a lot of other YouTube channels, and it is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. The thing that finally cracked me into buying this book was the cover. I'm a sucker for beautiful covers, and this one is just gorgeous and hazy and dreamy. So what is this book about? I can't say much unless I give it all away, but it is about a mystery. It is about cousins. It is about love. It is about loss. It is about everything that happened over one summer when this girl, Cadence, the protagonist, was 15. And that's about as much as I can say. All I can recommend is that this book is gorgeously written. The imagery is incredible, and particularly sometimes when she's remembering things, it's just this beautiful haze. It's a gorgeous book, and I will do a review on it and go more in depth because this book deserves more than just a fleeting glance. So that was my book haul of the last few weeks. Let me know if you've read any of the ones and we can chat about them, because I'm really into all of these books and I hope that you've read some too. Bye!